Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day. Hello. My name is Eleanor.
My name is Kalina.
And this is Don't Quote Me on That.
Where we kind of talk about movies.
Yeah.
And I have some feedback for us, actually. Someone listened to our show recently, and I said, "Oh, what did you think?" And they said, "Yeah, I didn't really understand most of it because there was a lot of inside jokes. So I think we have to tone those down a little bit."
I don't want to.
You know what? I forget that this show is not just the two of us talking to each other. Not that I think. I'm just convinced that like no one actually listens to our show. The people who listen to our show are my mother, who I explain every single joke we have to her, so she knows. My brother, who thinks we're the funniest people alive, and your grandma. I made a joke in one of our first episodes ever that my brother like regularly quotes to people. We're part of his lore. It's when you talked about how you won a diversity award in high school, and I went, and they gave it to you. He can quote that to me word for word, and I stand by my point.
One. I stand by it too.
Anyway, so we got to tone down on the inside jokes.
Yeah, we started talking once, and then
never stopped,
and then never ever stopped.
Yeah, and we're talking here.
We
Not
are.
about a movie.
Today we're talking about an album, which is basically a movie. Yeah.
One of the music videos for a song off this album has a lady that was in a movie. And therefore
okay.
It counts.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it. We've made worse stretches.
Yes. Anyway, what are we talking about? Eleanor, who was not here last week?
I was not. Last week I was at work for 3 weeks. But anyway, we're talking about Wasteland, baby, by
Mr. Andrew.
Mr. Andrew.
Our favorite Irish guy.
Our favorite Irish guy. The reason I picked this one, which I feel like wouldn't usually happen.
It would not.
It would not. Because apparently he just announced like a deluxe version or a special edition or what have you of this album. And it's been 5 years since it was released, which is, I think, a very long time to get to a deluxe version.
Yes.
But
and also St. Patrick's Day is this month.
That is correct.
Actually, this might be our St. Patrick's Day episode. If I have the dates right.
Is this our St. Patrick's Day episode?
I think St. Patrick's Day is the 17th.
Yeah, and this is releasing the 15th. So yeah, look at us.
Day.
We're so on theme. Shout out Ireland.
Shout out Limerick specifically. And Cork.
Context.
I heard a Cork accent the other day. 10 out of 10.
For context, Clint and I met in Ireland. We lived there for an amount of time that was significant.
We were going to college there, for reference. We didn't just rock up there for no reason.
But anyway, the deluxe version of... here's what I was going to say. I kind of appreciate that... I mean, I can't really speak because I didn't know about this album when it first came out. Mm-hmm. But, like, Taylor Swift's new, re-records have been coming out with, like... every single song off of the regular version, the original regular version, the original deluxe version, and then extra songs. Mm-hmm. So it's an overload of a bunch of new stuff all at the same time. So I think having a little gap is nice.
It's nice, yeah. Yeah, like I get her wanting to like own her stuff as soon as possible, but like just like logistically for the sake of fans, because unfortunately you are in a fan service business, you gotta cool it down, buddy. We can't keep up.
There also, her new album comes out the same day that the deluxe version of Wasteland Baby comes out, and I think the worst people you know are gonna be so excited.
Is it you?
Yeah, of course it is.
But we thought we would take a look back at Wasteland, baby.
Yes.
And talk about it, because I think we've gotten really into Hozier in the last couple of years, but definitely like last year or so, for sure.
Last couple months. I had never heard a Hozier song on purpose before we reviewed Unreal on Earth.
And aren't you glad you did?
Yeah, I'm also kind of glad I did when I did, because I think if I had found out about him at any other time, it probably would have damaged me more than I already am. You know? Like how if I had become a 1975 fan in high school, like, you know, it would not have bode well for me.
I hate you.
I'm right.
I'm trying to think of but I think I became a fan of all the music I still like at like the worst possible time, and it turned out okay for me. So, I think if I became a Pierce the Veil fan now, it just wouldn't hit the same as it did when I was 14-year-old Galena. Oh my god! I told my friend, the same one that says we need to tone down our inside jokes. We were listening to music, and he was like, "Oh, what kind of music do you like?" And I was like, "Oh, Pierce the Veil." And then he played them, right? But the problem is that on Spotify, Pierce the Veil's top song is "King for a Day," and that is just not the song that I need you to hear for the first time when I tell you I like a band, because it's just a lot coming out the gate. They're screaming. It is loud. They start screaming 3 seconds in. So he started playing it, and I was like, yeah, actually, no, different band. Wrong. I don't know what this is. This is crazy. Because, that's embarrassing for me. Pierce the Veil. Saying I like Pierce the Veil is already embarrassing in the wrong audience. But, I don't like that Pierce the Veil. I need you to know I'm cooler. And I'm chill. And I like them in a different way than everybody else does.
And you're not like other girls.
And I'm not like other girls.
My problem is that when people ask me what music I like, my brain just stops working. And I always go for Old Faithful, which, isn't really technically true anymore. And I just say One Direction. I have, 2 songs on my playlist, sure. I don't really think I can say I currently actively listen to One Direction. But I just am embarrassing myself straight off because the only musician I can think of.
What else would you say? Taylor Swift, I feel like that's a worse answer.
I can't say that. It's true, but I can't lead with that.
You like 5 Seconds of Summer? Half the people don't even know who they are, which is wild.
Yeah,
I've been getting a lot of compliments on my work playlist, though. It is mostly people age 50 and up. But unfortunately, that is my target audience.
On the playlist, or who are complimenting it, or both?
Both, probably. It's I think I have any Eagles top hit on there. There's Fleetwood Mac. I got Billy Joel running. So I'm just appeasing everyone. Led Zeppelin's in there. So I'm just hitting all of the old man genres. All the old man bands in every genre I possibly can. So I got lots of compliments. They're like, "Oh, this is a good playlist. Who put it together?" And they're like, "Oh, Kalina did." And I'm like, "That's me."
Well, I'm glad you know your audience.
My coworkers are listening to American Pie for the 15th time today, and I'm loving it. But you know what else? You know what else I have on that playlist? Hozier, which is what we're talking about. Oh my god!
No, wait, is that who we're talking about?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That's
crazy. Okay, so the first song that we are discussing is called Nina Cried Power.
I love this song. I remember when this song came out, I thought it was genius. I think I was like, a respect, little Black Power fist. That's what Hozier said. It's a good song. It's a good song. Knowing what I know about him now, because I think when I heard this album and this song for the first time, it was I wasn't into him. I was like, oh, that's the Take Me to Church guy. That's a nice song. I like him, but I wasn't seeking it out necessarily. But I did listen to this song a lot on loop. And I remember I thought the premise of the music video was interesting, which is why I watched it. And the music videos, he gets a bunch of people and he's recording them listening to the song for the first time. But I think it's a bunch of people in his life or in his team or something like that. So it's cute. And I just thought it was a great song. And what I was saying before, knowing what I know about him now, because I think a lot of for lack of a better word, like lore, like the vibe around him now is Hozier is like sings like romantic music, you know. He's like that's the romantic, makes a lot of euphemisms guy. And this song is like very much about like you know, like protesting and protest songs and like the history of that in music, and specifically this genre of music, because he makes a lot of references to like, he makes references like John Lennon and Nina Simone and Marvin Gaye, and how like they cried power, so like, you know, power to the people. And knowing what I know about Hozier now, that is not what he usually sings about. He usually sings about how he thinks his girl is hot and he would like her to step on him, basically. That is, listen, if you could sum up Hozier's discography, that is most of it.
And what's wrong with that?
I respect a man who knows what he wants and is willing to say it.
That meme that's this like JROTC guy saluting, and it says me when a bad bitch tells me what to do.
That's Hozier.
That's Hozier. That's also me. And like that's okay. But I do
totally unrelated. I'm so sorry. I saw a video today. Don't ask me why I thought of this. Where they did like a baby doll tea swap, and it was a bunch of friends. And I know we're the only two people we know, but I think we should do that and just swap. One of them said, and I would like it. So if Eleanor, if you're listening to this for our future baby doll tea swap, it said not flirting, just hot and talking. And I think I deserve that.
Okay. I'll keep that noted.
I'm so sorry. I'm just like, I haven't talked to Eleanor in a really long time, guys.
Yeah, that's true. I've
this is the only
for
time we can talk to each other.
context, I was away for 3 weeks in like a 12-hour time difference. It was rough.
Let's finish this song, and then I have a question for you that has nothing to do with Hozier.
Okay. All right. I thought this was a very bold choice for an opener, because you're right, it's not really what I expected from the Horny Irish album. But song is good. I liked it. I was listening to it when I was driving to work, and I felt
I think like, in terms of album opener, I have mixed feelings, because we talk about album openers all the time. And I have mixed feelings on this one, because I feel like it's a good song, and I really like this song. I think it's a very strong album opener, but I don't think it's as... I think it would have been a stronger album opener if the rest of the album was in this vein of, like, protest song, or, like, the history of music, like, that genre and things like that. This would have been a beautiful album opener. But because the rest of the... like, and, like, sonically, it doesn't change very much, but... like thematically, the rest of the album has nothing to do with this first song, so it's like a weird... I think this would have made a good album ending on a protest song. Great. Opening with a protest song and then being like, oh my god, I love my girlfriend. I respect it. A little bit of whiplash here.
Yeah.
But there's a really good line in the song that I think is absolutely genius. He says and he has... so this song has a feature. The lady's name is Mavis Staples, and she says, I could cry power. Power has been cried by those stronger than me, straight into the face that tells you to rattle your chains if you love being free. Which is a banger of a line. Every time I hear that line, I like back up and listen to it about 10 times. And then also, I like that this song felt very much like it's the journey, not the destination, because the whole crux of the chorus is like, it's not the waking, it's the rising. It's not the song, it is the singing. It's like it's not the shade we should be past. It's not the waking, it's the rising is the part he keeps coming back to. So it's not about like, yes, when we reach this monumental, talking about protest song, when we reach this moment of change, that's not what it's about. It's all the things we had to do to get there. Are you good to go on to the next song? I
am. Also, this is something I'm gonna say about a lot of the songs in this album. This song was a little long.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I also think it's always bold to have a collab as the first song, but this worked, so it's fine.
Yeah, this one paid off. But again, I do think this would have been a stronger closer. It would have been still a bit of 180 compared to the rest of the album. But I've been like, yeah, I am in love. And I am crying. Power to the people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next song. Almost. Sweet music.
Yes. This song is another reason I was okay reacting to this album, reviewing this album, whatever it is that we do. Because this was on my playlist, I think because you put it on there, and I really liked it. This song is also on TikTok a lot these days. Or maybe
oh my God, I know.
Just the TikTok I'm on.
No, it is. You're right.
Okay.
I like how this, and I think this comes throughout the rest of the album. It's a very upbeat but like smooth sound. I think sometimes upbeat songs are like a little too like clappy, like up and down, if that makes sense. There's like highs and it's not quite lows, but like it goes up and down. It's like bringing it to you, bring it down, bring. Whereas this is like very smooth across the board. And I also like, I always take there's like two interpretations, because in the pre-chorus he says I'm almost me again, she's almost you. And then I saw a lot of edits actually for the show The Last of Us, with Pedro Pascal, that guy, to this song. I know nothing about that show, but they were making me emo because I saw a lot of them. Because in the second pre-chorus he says, I laugh like me again, she laughs like you. And I love the dual interpretation, because it could be like we're acting like our old selves again, like I'm almost myself again and you're almost her again, but her is still the same you. Or it could be like, I'm almost me again, you're almost like my ex-girl, which, like, not as great, but still, like, the way he presents it and sings it and, like, yeah, words it, makes it sound very nice and hopeful. Like, it's not necessarily like I'm comparing you to my ex sort of thing, but, like, you are providing that, which I got from my last relationship, which was a good thing. Yeah. I'd be a little mad about it still, but... You're
almost second best.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't want to hear that, but... And then also, this man knows a lot of his, like, I used this word once, I'm going to use it again because Eleanor said she liked it, was musical canon he knows very well. Talking about in the last song, he's talking about, again, like, John Lennon and Nina Simone and this and this. And in this song, he talks about Duke Ellington, and he talks about Chet Baker. And, you know, so he, like, is very entrenched in his genre.
I saw a comment on TikTok about the I laugh like me again, she laughs like you. And somebody was like, oh, that's sweet. Is this about his daughter who died? And somebody else said, the line right before it is about smoking together, so I don't think so.
But okay, I think that's what all the Last of Us edits were about. So maybe they were on the same part of TikTok that I was on.
Okay.
I think the guy's daughter, listen, this is based off of TikTok edits, okay? This is all I know about the show. I think his daughter dies, and then he, like, it's like a zombie apocalypse, and then I think he, like, adopts another girl to protect her. So he's like, oh, you left like her again, my dead daughter. Which is a little sad. Also, this is a theme I noticed throughout this whole album. I feel like this album was very, for lack of a better phrase, like, community, or, like, folky in this. Like, I can picture all of these songs, like, being sang very organically around a fire, like a campfire, a bonfire, and everyone's just kind of joining in, like. And so in almost sweet music, there's like a lot of clapping that's going on, like, towards the end of the song, I think, either in the bridge or like the last chorus. Mm-hmm. There's like just this background clapping, and it's kind of like Hozier is sitting at the fire, he's singing, everyone's kind of like contributing in that way as they're clapping along to the song. So it feels very like connected and like personal. And then thinking of, even if not sonically, but just the nature of the previous song, like power, and like you cannot make a movement without people, obviously. You have to have connection and community around that. So those are my little notes for those two on that theme.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a good song.
It's a good song. It remains on my driving playlist.
Great driving song.
I think part of the problem is I feel like I should be, if I was smarter, I'd get Hozier more. But like,
I don't think I got Nina Cried Power when I first listened to it. I was like, yeah, I know who Nina Simone is, but like, I know John Lennon, you know, but like, yeah, I agree with
I
that.
kind of know John Lennon. I think he was in the Beatles.
He was.
He was
So
okay,
smart. You were really confident for most of that sentence. But next song. Are you ready? I'm ready.
All right.
Next song. Movement.
Okay. My first note for this song is, this is a lot. And then my next note is, but in a good way.
Ooh.
Taking you out there. Yeah.
I think this album, I've decided, because also, I don't know if I realized this. I didn't realize so many of these songs were on this album specifically. I thought they might have been on other ones from him. But I do, and I wouldn't say a lot of the songs on these albums were like my favorite Hozier songs, but there were songs I'd heard more than once before for the most part. And this album overall feels I think there's a difference between sensual and like sexy. I would say Unreal Unearthed was like sexy. That was like a little racy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This was more
I
like
agree.
sensual, kind of like understated, like it's not in your face about it, but like,
yeah, this is like,
you know, I know, he knows.
This is like, okay, if you're watching a movie and there are two girl characters who are like kind of will they won't they, this is like the type of music that would play when they get their, you know, their fade to black moment, you know?
I think you shouldn't.
If you're watching the right kind of films.
Yeah, I think it's like and like not just I love that word sonically, not just sonically, but like also in the like lyrics and the things he talks about in the songs. It's very much like about what lies in that like that moment just before something happens, like the anticipation of it and like the tension. It's all built up, but we haven't really crossed the line yet. But we all know where it's going. But still, but like what could be on the other side? Who knows? Yeah, that's what this album is. This album is like the like anticipation up to something. Unreal Unearthed, been there, done that.
Yeah,
doing it.
They are. Yeah. The best comment on the genius for movement by Hozier is, boys, he's getting pegged again.
But see, he never comes out and says it.
He does not, but like,
he leaves it to our imagination. He doesn't leave much to our imagination now, but he does leave it. And then I also really like how like this whole album sounds very like, it's very smooth and very like consistent across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But so like here when it swells, it's just his voice in like the sense that his voice is the instrument that is like reaching these high bits. But it's not like he's singing louder, but his voice is like becomes more powerful, whereas the instrumentals stay the same. And also how I think a lot of people say this about Hozier, and I think that a lot of people say he's like lesbian coded or whatever. They do. That is something I have heard.
That is something you,
on the
yes,
internet.
those are just not words I ever thought I would hear you say.
And like how he's like very like reverent, you know what I mean? And here it like, so he says move me baby, and he says you do it naturally, and he says you're like a willow tree and like gray skies. It's like something that's like very sacred and should be put on a pedestal, but also like very natural. He's not like oh my god, this is out of this world. He's like, it is out of this world because it's happening to me and I love you so much, but like this also just should this is what's gonna happen. This is what's meant to happen, you and I.
Mm-hmm. Birds and the bees.
Birds and the bees. And I could never define all that you are to me. Again, if a man said that to my face.
If a man said that to your face, you'd probably kick him.
I'd probably kick him.
To be fair.
That's what I'm saying.
You know.
If a man like seriously said that to my face, I'd be like, oh, you know what? I saw someone It's this girl on TikTok. Don't ask me her name, but she makes a lot of funny videos. Her name's probably like Becca or something. And she makes a lot of those. Like, she made one recently that was like a girl who's definitely not, or like thinks she's getting proposed to on Valentine's Day. And like those sorts of videos. But she made a video that was a bit more serious. She goes, you know what feels like healing? When love bombing no longer works. And she said how, like, she was like, oh yeah, if the guy goes, I've never felt like this before. She's like, that's indigestion, babe. You're 37 years old and you've never felt like this? That's a problem.
I think, you know the tweet that's like, love bombing works because I've met me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I retweeted one along the lines that was like, love bombing will work on me because, like, why wouldn't you be in love with me?
Why wouldn't you be?
I'm great.
Yeah.
But again, if a man said that, oh my God, I've never felt like this before, get that checked out, buddy.
Yeah, if it's a man, it's automatically.
If a woman said that to you?
Anyway, we don't
need to unpack that.
Anyway, the next song, track 4.
No Plan.
It's called No Plan.
My first note, which I think I was supposed to be right the rest of a sentence, but I said love when bass. And yeah.
Yeah.
That's on brand for me.
I've never quite heard so many bird metaphors or bird references in such a sexy song.
Yeah.
So that was new for me.
This song felt like smooth, like he's flirting with you, but he already got you. Like you're his girl. So it's not that sort of effort, but like now I'm keeping you.
This song it's definitely 5 minutes long. Like I drove to it and I was like, we could.
I was like trying to dig deep for like some like what I came up with is basically this one feels like this. It's called No Plan. So it's literally like what I was talking about earlier. Like something will happen, and we all know something's gonna happen. But I'm not really planning on the minute details of how we're gonna get from point A to point B. I'm just going with it. I love you. I have you already, and you're great and wonderful, and I want to keep you forever. Also, this will come up more later, but he talks about, he's like, let the awful song be heard, and like he talks a lot. I think of Take Me to Church as like obviously his biggest example when he says, my lover's got humor, she's the giggle at a funeral, knows everybody's disapproval. Like he always sings about his girl or his lover being like not evil, but like not all sunshine and roses. Like there's a dark side to her. There's something sharp about her. And there's something awful about her, but in the best way possible. And he's always like, it can't be awful because it's you. Like I want, and like even if it is awful, I want every part of that. I want to be in on that.
Mm-hmm.
And also I really like when he says, my heart is thrilled by the still of your hand. It's like even now after all of this, like little things, like just this little I'm like, don't, sold. Whatever you say, man.
The harder the rain, the sweeter the sun.
He says, no hand on the rein, and like no one is in charge in that sense. It's just us together, and like the power is like between us both, not handing it over to anybody. But you could have it if you wanted to.
Also, the line that says, as Mac explained, according to Genius, it's about a woman astrophysicist, so, you know,
power.
He's an ally.
In every sense of it. It's Women's History Month. I have a much harder time making Women's History Month jokes, I gotta tell you.
I told all the men in my office that they should have paid for my lunch.
How did that go?
I mean, they left, so it felt pretty good. Nobody did, though. I did shell out $18 for a sandwich.
Was it a good sandwich? Was it $18 worth of good? Oh, okay.
It was not $18 worth of good, but it was pretty good.
Is anything $18 worth of good?
No. Not really.
I missed you today. I went to Aldi and they had risotto in a packet, and I went, my wife would make me risotto.
I love risotto.
I love risotto too.
Did you see that Brie might be going extinct?
No, I don't think you and I are on the same cheese basis. Okay.
Oh.
In that I'm not on them.
I heard that Brie might be going extinct, and I couldn't even bring myself to read the article because the headline made me so sad. Especially because I saw enough joke tweets about it to know that the headline wasn't a, haha, just kidding, don't worry. It seemed legit. And I just, once Brie goes extinct, I'm not sure how much I'll have left to live for.
I think we should stop talking to each other for a little while. I will say though, you make a mean grilled cheese with a brie.
Thank you.
And does brie and some jam and love in her heart, I think. I don't know. When I made it, it didn't taste the same.
Oh, well, that's because you don't have enough love in your heart.
Well, I know that. You didn't have to say it.
Look, it's the same reason you can't make risotto, and I am happy to make it for you.
No, the same reason I can't make risotto is because it would take too long, and you were right about that.
Yeah.
It hurt my feelings a little bit.
Well, I gave you a backup plan. Anyway, the next song, if you're ready to move on.
Yes.
I can keep going on about cheese if you want.
No, it's okay. I think we'll have that discussion later anyway. Next song.
The next song is called Nobody.
Every time I hear the title of this song, I'm always hoping he's going to sing that other song. It's like NFWMB. It stands for Nobody Fucks With My Baby. Good song. So I'm always hoping it's going to be a variation of that. And it's not, but like, it's a good song.
This song is so good. The only note I have for this song is whatever love is dumb, which tracks. It talks about Abu Dhabi, and I was just in Abu Dhabi. Not to flex on anybody, but I did have a 2-hour layover.
This song made me think of Butchered Tongue off of Unreal on Earth for a moment, because in that song he says something like along the lines of how nice it is to go someplace where like you can speak your language or something along those lines. And in this song, in the first verse, he goes, he says, I think about you though everywhere I go, and I've done everything and I've been everywhere. And then he says, I've been fed gold by sweet fools in Abu Dhabi, and I've danced real slow with rockets on dodgy Molly. It just made me think of like going places, like foreign places, but people still knowing you over you have some shared connection with humans because you're a human.
Yeah, this song made me a little weepy, which I'm sure is not a surprise to anyone. Also, when Hozier says the line, it's Suicide Tuesday back in LA, and I had to listen to that like 3 or 4 times because I was like, there's no way
That's what
that man just said that. And then he did, and I was like, nobody quite gets me.
Like this 6'5" Irishman.
Like this 6'5" Irishman.
I like this song also because he's singing about it, talking about like the last song where like he already got you, and he's just trying to like keep you. You know, he said like they always say, you never should stop dating your partner. You're always trying to get your partner. Whereas here it's like, even if we've been together for like a month or like years, it's always like being with you for him or being with his person is exciting and new, like it's the first time. He said, I've had no love like your love. That's the chorus. Like, I want you to know I've had no love like your life from nobody. And then also he says, I wouldn't fall for someone I thought couldn't misbehave. So kind of going back to the like, even like I'll take all the awful parts of you and love them, because like I couldn't love someone who was just perfect all the time. Yeah. I'm not emo about that, actually. I feel fine about things.
He's good at loving his girl so much, but also in a realistic way that I appreciate.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it never feels like this grand, like, end of the world. It's you and me for like us against the world sort of thing. It's just like, this is a natural thing. This is like meant to happen. We all know how this is going to end, but it's so exciting because we're doing it together. So even if I was in a relationship before, it was exciting then, but now it's like you and me. So now it's exciting for that reason. That reason alone. Maybe love is nice or something. Anyway, what's the next song?
Love is the worst. The next song is called To Noise Making, in parentheses, Sing. And this song, I don't know if it was good or bad because it made me think way too much about being in school. And I really, truly don't like thinking about when I was in school because I had a class on music, and the whole thesis of the class is that, you know, music isn't anything but noise. And that's the only thing that was going through my head this entire song. And it kind of ruined it for me.
That would ruin it for me too.
And then, because at the end of the song I was sick of it, I said, this gives me Disney Channel musical PSA vibes. Because I felt like being catty. But I do like, there's one line, because I felt like I needed to say something nice after all of that. There's a line that says, at best you find a little remedy, at worst the world will sing along. And we like anything here that could be in any way viewed as a critique of fame. So, big up to that one. But other than that...
I can see it. I don't think this is like the strongest song on the album by a long shot. It's nice, but I do think it's got like, and not the toughest competition. Like Unreal on Earth, I feel like every song was like cutthroat.
Hanger.
Okay, they were fighting for it. Whereas this one, like, some of them definitely stood out. But I did love, like, you don't have to sing it right, and then but later on in the song he says, but honey, sing it strong. So like, again, just because it's you, it's wonderful. I don't care that it sounds like you singing along to the song in the car sounds bad. I love that you you love to do that and that you're comfortable enough with me to do that. So put all your all into it, even if it's awful. And like everything you do is wonderful because it's you. And then also, this made me a little emo. There's a line in the song he says, I want to be your lover or the Fisherman's Blues. And Fisherman's Blues is a song by this Scottish band called the Waterboys. And it's also one of the 4 songs that the Mary I live music sock had on rotation, and that song would make me cry if I was not careful.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if that was an intentional reference, but I didn't need that, and it made me sad, and now I'm gonna go listen to that song. If you haven't heard that song, great song. He says, with light in my hands and you in my arms. Not Hozier, in Fisherman's Blues. Anyway. But again, back to him like song. Knowing his musical canon.
He does. He's very good with his references. And I think one of the best things a song can be is clever, so.
Okay, I'm going to need you to take the reins for this next one. Because I unfortunately have no intelligent thoughts to offer. This next song is called As It Was. And I love this song. I love this song. I think every song should sound like this. And I love this song. I don't think Eleanor liked this song.
I'm so glad that Kalina enjoys things. I did not. I mean, this song wasn't bad.
Eleanor, what is wrong with you? I love this song. It's like so abstract, and his voice is like there's not like it's like a finger picking guitar in the back. It's real simple. His voice is doing all the work. He says the lights were as bright as my baby. The cold cut as sharp as my baby. The night was as dark as my baby, and half as beautiful too. What's wrong with you? Okay, I'll talk about the song. Don't worry. He says, whatever in the first verse he goes, whatever here that's left of me is yours, just as it was. 1 second, I'm having a crisis.
Please don't have a crisis.
Okay. He says, whatever here that's left of me is yours, just as it was before the otherness came, and I knew its name. He says, the highs hit the heights of my baby, and its hold had the fight of my baby, and the lights were as bright as my baby, but your love was unmoved. And in the post-chorus, he says all that again. He says, and the sights were as stark as my baby, and the cold cut as sharp as my baby, and the nights were as dark as my baby, and half as beautiful too. The night was only half as beautiful as his baby. And also, they were as dark as his baby, which goes back to my whole theory about he loves him a woman with some flaws. Because he's like, you can be a little dark. It can't be awful because it's you. And I couldn't fall in love with someone who couldn't misbehave. He says, make your good love known to me and just tell me about your day. Again, in the simple things. I have you already. But I'm going to keep you forever. In my little pocket. Because I love you. And the night sky has nothing on you. This is just like Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Were, but more abstract. That's what I'm connecting the dots. Eleanor's a hater.
Is that a song you particularly enjoy?
Huh?
Is that a song you like?
No, it's just the night sky part made me think of When I See Your Face. Okay. It's not a thing that I would change, but like personally, I like this one better. No offense to Bruno Mars.
I was gonna make fun of you a little bit if that was a song you were gonna like really hang your hat on.
No, but you know what's a great Bruno Mars song? This is not at all what we're talking about. We are going to go down a rabbit hole. It Will Rain off of the Twilight soundtrack. I'm sorry, the Breaking Dawn soundtrack. Fantastic song. And like, you know what else is a fantastic song off of a Twilight movie soundtrack? Decode by Paramore. Which when I went to go see the Eagles, I went into the bar area while I was waiting. And tell me why that music video was playing on the TV in there. I didn't need that emotionally. Connecting the dots. I'm so smart. It's big brain Kalina time. In Decode, she said at the end, she goes, there is something I see in you. It might kill me, but I want it to be true. Which, first of all, goes impossibly hard. Second of all, connects to Mr. Hozier's I couldn't love someone who couldn't misbehave. It's like, I see something in you that might not be the purest and like the most wonderful aspect of your personality, but like, I want that. I want that little nugget right there. The Twilight soundtracks go really hard, is the moral of the story.
Really,
and I think
really
if Hozier was putting out music when those movies were coming out, he would have made it on at least one of them.
Actually, that was one of the comments on one of the Genius article for the song we were just listening to, for As It Was.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have picked that one. Take Me to Church might have been a good one. I don't know how religious Edward was, but like, it might have worked. We could have made that work.
I think it might have worked. Yeah, we could.
Or like any of Eat Your Young, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll stop talking about violence and instead talk about bird violence. Next song.
Next song.
Shrike. This song is very good. It has like a, it's gonna sound really stupid, like a Celtic-y kind of string arrangement right at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was not prepared for when I was driving. Song is very good. So a shrike is a bird, right? And they like impale things on thorns, which is interesting.
Back to my Hozier loves him.
Back to Kalina's
awful woman.
Kalina loves an awful woman. Hozier loves an awful woman.
He always talks about his girl not just being awful, but like sharp and like piercing almost. So like in As It Was, because Eleanor's a hater, so I'm gonna bring it up again because it's a great song. The cold was as sharp as my baby. And here he says, remember me, love, when I'm reborn, as the shrike to your sharp and glorious thorn. It's like you can hurt him, and he will be happy to fulfill that. And also, this song feels very bittersweet to me because he's like regretful. It's about like a relationship that he's lost, but I also think he's very resigned in the sense that he knows it was like he had a part in that. Because he says, the opening lines are, I couldn't utter my love when it counted, but I'm singing like a bird about it now. And I couldn't whisper when you needed it shouted, but I'm singing like a bird about it now. So it's like too little, too late, but he knows that.
And you can kill him about it if you want.
You can kill him about it if you want.
He'll let you.
And he kind of wants you to, I think.
And let you do it again. Yeah, he really wants you to.
And I can't let... Eleanor needs to cover her ears because she will not respond well to my the following note I have, okay? But he has a line that's something along... He goes, dragging along, following your form, hung like the pelt. And he's not like... It's like not... He's not being submissive, which is the word that Eleanor cannot hear. But it's less than and more than that in the sense that he's like, I am at... Like, it's not even like I am giving control of me over to you. It's just like, you can drag me along wherever you want to go, and I am there. Like, you don't even have to pay attention to me. I'm just trailing along. Like, it is like both more and less than that, you know? Hung like the pelt. Like, listen, okay, if you kill something and you've got its pelt hanging on the horse behind you, are you paying attention to it? No? But it's coming along with you. It is committed to that space and time and you. And I think we should move on to the next song before Eleanor's
We should really move on because I will keep going. Okay. So here's the thing. What happened is one faithful afternoon in February, Cleta and I went on a little date to see Hadestown. And before that day, I had probably thought about...
Did you enjoy that day?
I enjoyed that day for the most part. I got really sick towards the end of it. But before that day, I never thought about Orpheus and Eurydice. And unfortunately now, do you know what I do quite a lot?
Isn't it great? I do it too. It's consuming me.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, this song is about our friends. Well, not really about our friends, but mentions our friends, Orpheus and Eurydice. And
this song is called Talk, by the way.
The song is called Talk. Which is funny because I didn't talk about it. I cried about it. This song made me real world weepy. And I'm gonna blame Kalina for that.
That's fair. I think if this song catches me at the wrong time, it will make me weepy. But so the opening line is, "I'd be the voice that Orpheus when her body was found." So don't worry, guys. I'll give you the recap. Myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. Basically, Orpheus is this musician. Eurydice, they fall in love. They get married, and then she gets called down to the underworld. And like in Hadestown, she gets tricked to go down there, right? And Orpheus is like, "Oh my god, my wife!" So he walks into the underworld to go get her. Doesn't die. He hikes himself down there to go get his woman. And Hades is like, fine, the two of you can leave, but you can't, she has to walk behind you, and you can't hear her, and you can't turn around to look at her. And if you turn around to look at her, she's doomed to the underworld forever. And, spoiler alert, he turns around to look at her. But, so he says, I'd be the voice that Orpheus when her body was found. So, when he first finds out she's dead, he's like, I'm going down there to get her. And then at the end of the first verse, he says, I'd be the immediate forgiveness in Eurydice. Because I've seen scholars and a lot of people online and fans of Hadestown talk about how could Eurydice be upset that he turned around and doomed her to eternity? Because in any version no matter what the reason he turned around was, it was because he loved her at the end of the day. So like some versions say he heard her trip and he turned around to help her, or he didn't really trust that they would let them go and he like needed to make sure she was behind him, or he like didn't realize they both had to be out of the underworld completely, so he turned around too early because he was so excited to see her. But no matter which way you look at it, he loved her so much he just had to see her and doomed her to eternity. But like, how could she be upset with that? Because she was loved that much. And so he says, I'd be the immediate forgiveness in Eurydice. Imagine being loved by me. And I wrote, I can't, Hozier, for my mental health, I can't do that. And then, and like, that's not even the chorus, okay?
Then in the chorus, our friend is like, you know how I said all that smart stuff? Yeah, I just did it so that you wouldn't know how much I would appreciate boning you right now.
He says, I've got in my mind now all the things I would do, so I'm trying to talk refined so you don't find out that I like how I'm imagining you. And like, again, back to like being like sensual or seductive versus sexy. This is not like overt. I feel like sexy is more like open and racy, whereas this is like, you know, unfortunately what it did make me think of is that song off of, I think, the re-release of Enchanted. Oh, I Can See You. That one. That's what it made me think of. Because she's like, you don't know what we're getting up to in my mind. And I think that's for the best, actually. Hozier, again, he says, imagine being loved by me. And I can't do that.
I have done that. I'll probably do it again.
For my own mental health. And he's not like, and he doesn't objectify. It's not like you are this object that I want to possess. It's like, you are just so wonderful and I would let you do whatever you wanted. But I don't think, we're not quite at the place where I can tell you that yet. Or we're just not like we're in public or what, you know, like even if I have you already, I just like, it's up here. And then like, also I think he's very simple about like talking about like love is just natural and like bound to happen. Imagine being loved by me. He's like, it's so simple. It's like, it's not this big grand thing, but it is powerful. And it's a good song.
Such a good song. And we're really getting a 1-2 punch with this, because we go from talking about Greek mythology to talking about the Bible.
Yeah, homeboy went from his like musical canon to his literary canon to his religious canon real quick. He said, I'm hitting all the points.
He really is. And I don't really appreciate it because I don't know how to control myself.
Is there a Bible story that like makes you insane even if you aren't religious about the Bible? Because I have one.
What is yours?
The Moses. Because I get it's the Prince of Egypt's fault, right? I get really sad when I hear the opening song to the Prince of Egypt is Deliver Us. And it just makes me really sad because it's like, have you forgot, like they're like, Lord, remember us here in this burning sand and like deliver us to the promised land. And then Moses' mother is dropping him in the river and she sings a song that she's like, river, do you know someplace that he can be free? Deliver him there. And can you imagine taking your little baby and you don't think your baby's gonna live, so your best bet, rather than having your baby murdered in front of you, is to put him in the river and just hope and pray beyond all reasonable assumptions that the river will protect him. So I get very emo about.
Okay, you know what? I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they say, Lord of all, remember us here in this burning sand. With the salt, with the sting of the whip on my shoulder and the salt of my sweat on my brow. Elohim, God on high, can't you hear your people cry? I redacted myself. Okay, I would. Eleanor, she had to put her little baby in the river. And, like, did she really think the river was going to protect him? Did she have that much faith? Or did she just say, him drowning in a river is a better fate than being murdered in front of my eyes? I never went to Bible school, okay? I have a lot of feelings about this.
You don't say.
Anyway, do you have a story that you're like that about? Some people say for them it's Cain and Abel, which I could get insane about Cain and Abel, but not for the reasons most people think. It's just because they're brothers and I have a brother.
For me, it was probably when I got told in my youth group that wearing makeup was a sin. I think that made me a little crazy.
Okay, that's fair. Or
I feel like I'm not playing the game correctly.
Yes, you're not playing the game correctly. Okay, so we're gonna move on. The song is called B. That's what we're talking about. He makes some Bible references.
I feel like yes, it does make some Bible references. Our friend also released an acoustic version of this song when he announced the deluxe version of this album. Mm-hmm. I have not listened, but I think it's the only like new piece from the deluxe that's out so far.
I heard a snippet and I think I prefer it not acoustic. The opening of this gave me very much like groovy and Arctic Monkeys kind of way. Like if the Arctic Monkeys made like a toned down song, this is the vibe.
This song also, unfortunately, I think is another one that is definitely 5 minutes long. Yeah. I think most of these songs in this album could have used a little more of a trim.
Mm-hmm. What I like about this song is more, I think if you listen to Hozier, I feel like when Eat Your Young came out, because I felt like that was out for a really long time before Unreal and Earth came out as an album, everyone was like, oh my god, I can't believe he did this and this. But like, if you listen to his music, he's like, Unreal and Earth is him referencing himself. Like, these are not novel ideas that he's addressing, because he says things like, when the man who gives the order is born next time around on the boat. And like the meek, it's very much the meek shall inherit and like comeuppance. And like, I don't know, it gave me very Eat Your Young, because that Eat Your Young and All Things End, which were two singles off of that, were very much like that, the meek shall inherit. Like, well, yes, it's like Eat Your Young's a bit satirical, but like, we will have our heyday, essentially. You know, like, we are not actually going to eat our young and skin our children for a war drum. Like, we will have our payback for you systematically starving us to death, you know? I think the power of that song is, like, the things around it, not so much the song. That song I could take or leave, and I think it's better not acoustic. I think because it's such a simple song, acoustic is, like, not giving it enough to work with. That's me personally, though. No hate to Hozier.
Yeah.
Love that
guy. I don't think I'm particularly jazzed about having an acoustic version of this song. I honestly don't usually like acoustic version of any song.
You know what I am jazzed about? The next song. Good song. Dinner and Diatribes. Yeah. So remember when I was like, earlier, I was like, oh my god, this album is not sexy and racy at all. Take that back. Made a sharp left turn.
Yep.
This is euphemism central. Okay, this is where Hozier, and I think
he's getting down to it.
This had a music video, so I think when this came out and it had Anya Taylor-Joy in it, she was like blowing up around here. So like, I think this is when everyone was like, wait a second, Hozier, what have you been singing about all this time, right? He says, I'd suffer hell if you tell me what you do to me tonight. And like, so kind of like in talk, when he's like, I'm trying to talk really refined so you don't like, you don't realize I'm picturing what's going to happen later in my head. Same thing now. He's like, I will do anything you tell me if you'll just tell me what's going to happen later. I know something's going to happen later, but like, I cannot rest until I know what it is. And then he says the chorus of this, which is just beautiful, is that's the kind of love I've been dreaming of, which also makes me think of referencing back again to talk, is imagine being loved by me. So like, kind of now the shoe's on the other foot, whereas he's like, I've been dreaming of this, like I've been dreaming of being loved by you.
Also, the I'd suffer hell if you tell me what you do to me tonight. Not, complete one-to-one comparison, but it made me think of, there's a Taylor Swift line that says, "I'll do anything you say if you say it with your hands."
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, back to the anticipation, baby. He's like, I am losing my mind trying to figure out what's going to happen later. And, like, I will still be excited about it, but I need you to tell me, for the sake of my mental health, I need you to tell me what's going to happen later. He says, now that the end's in, this is the end of the second verse. He goes, now that the end's in sight, honey, it's easier knowing what you do to me tonight. Like, what I'm making up in my head and what is actually going to happen are probably equally great, but, like, I need you to help me here. And, like, I love how like thrilling the song of itself sounds. It's like building into this crescendo, but it never, like, you don't get a payoff. And that's him. He's like, I know where the night is going, but, like, I'm just building it up in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good song.
It's a good song.
And that's the thing, is, like, again, I think he, like, takes it back to being fun, but not fun for, like, just him as the man. He's like, this is fun. And it's, like, again, a give and take. And talk, he's like, imagine being loved by me. Like, I'm the one giving this great experience, loving you. But, like, now in Dinner and Diatribes, he's like, yeah, imagine being loved by you. I'm doing that right now. And it's great.
He looks after his lady, is all I'm saying.
And then the next song happened.
The next song is called Would That I. I'm hearing this song on TikTok a lot.
Uh-huh.
I did not know it was a Hozier song until I heard it on this album, and I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. I like driving to this song. And yeah, I have another note that I'm trying to decipher, but I have absolutely no idea what I'm saying.
I think this song is, like, what, until Dinner and Diatribes and, like, the Unreal on Earth phase of his career, I feel like this song is what the music that people thought Hozier was making. But again, if you listen to this out, like, Unreal on Earth made a lot of waves for the things it tackled and, like, how it tackled them and how, I think, overt it was. But if you listen to this album, those themes are here. But I think people weren't really listening to that. So I think this song, Would That I, is, like, kind of fairy, woodsy. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's the bog man. Like, this is what the music people thought he was making the whole time. Man. But he wasn't. Just because it sounded like that. And, like, this one is not nearly as, like, not racier anyway. But he says, oh, but you're so good to me. But you're good to me. But you're good to me. Oh, but you're good to me, baby. And, like, less like tension building, but still good. It's talking about, like, and I think going back to, like, sort of the metaphor of nature, like he says, true that I saw her hair like the branch of a willow tree, and he talks about being felled as a tree and, like, things, like a bunch of things like that, like a lot of nature references. And again, like, just the simplicity of love as something very natural and beautiful, like nature is, that just is bound to happen and that he appreciates very deeply. And I really like the chorus on this one, though. It had a very folk feel in, like, a Mumford & Sons kind of way.
Yeah, it was definitely in that bag, which is not my favorite bag, but...
Listen, there's some Mumford & Sons songs that, like, they hit.
This is, like this album, or this song is what I thought all of his music sounded like, which is why I didn't ever pick him up before.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
But when you listen to the album as a whole, even if they're, like, somewhat similar in vibe, which they're not, this I think is, like, the furthest to the, like, the fairy man, forest man vibe.
Yeah.
But, like,
they are good songs. Little Lion Man. Okay. I like Little Lion Man. That song goes hard.
There's a pop goes punk cover of it by Tonight Alive, I think.
Anyway, so the next song,
you're so rude to me,
is called Sunlight.
Yeah, did this song make you think of anybody, Eleanor? Do tell me.
No. That's crazy. When I listened to the album, it just went straight from Would That I straight into Wasteland, baby.
Hypothetically, though.
Hypothetically, I would gladly be the Icarus to your certainty.
This song is Kalina coded? Is what I heard?
The song is Kalina coded,
but
yeah.
Back to my Unreal Unearth theory that I keep bringing up. This is very much Icarian off of Unreal Unearth. He is talking about, I'm flying to you like a moth to sunlight. Blah, 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 blah.
Almost.
And then he says, know that I would gladly be the Icarus to your certainty. Strap the wing to me, death trap clad happily. With wax melted, I'd meet the sea under sunlight, sunlight, sunlight. And first of all, how he says sunlight, sunlight, sunlight drives me insane in the best way possible. Second of all, talking about like certainty, like death is a certainty.
Yeah.
And he knows that flying too close to the sun is going to send him plunging to his death, but it is worth it. It is worth just that brief moment. And like same with Icarus, it is worth that brief moment of peace and happiness and beauty that he will experience, because he's going to die anyway. He might as well go out on a good one. And like the chanting and so like he sings the final chorus. He's going, oh, your love is sunlight. Oh, your love is sunlight. Oh, but it is sunlight, just over and over and over again, which I don't think is fair to anybody to have to listen to. But then,
no, it's really not. And this song made me really, really upset. Like I had to go stand outside for a little bit when I heard the song.
But the worst part of it is there's just like chanting in the background. It's going back to that community aspect, but it's so haunting under this like very beautiful sentiment of your love is sunlight. And it's not even like sad that like it's going to end one day because it has to, but just like, I cannot wait to experience the warmth of your love. That's rude, Hozier. Rude.
It is rude. And I think he knows what he's doing, and I really don't appreciate it. But I also think that this song is really him.
Yeah, and like again, it's so simple. Because like when I'm reading the lyrics, it's literally just him saying like sunlight is in here a ridiculous amount of times, but it never feels repetitive in that sense. Like it feels like just like reverent. You know, like I think like if someone's saying a prayer and they're repeating something in the prayer,
yeah,
that's what that feels like. This feels like.
And I think this song is, you know, it's kind of, it's almost 4.5 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't drag like a song that is that long with that much repetitiveness can. And I think it's hard to pull that off, and it's not something he even pulls off all the time.
But that song on this album, because I will get more incensed by Hozier if we let me,
is the title track.
Wasteland, baby. Very bold to have your title track be the last song on the album. I like it. I think it's a good move, but it's a very bold one.
Yeah. I think it's especially bold to have the opening be a collab and then have the title track not be till the very end. I think those two together.
And like again, if the opening was a stronger opener, not that it wasn't a strong opener, it just wasn't a strong opener for this album. Like if that not, and like sonically it wouldn't have worked, but the theme of Nina Cried Power would have worked really well on Unreal Unearth. That I can see throwing that as the opener there. But but here I definitely would have ended with Nina and put Wasteland Baby at the front.
Hozier loves a woman who is not perfect. Loves Little Evil. And he loves
What's
too
that, like,
that love soon might end. Are you asking what it's like to be a little evil or to be in love with someone a little evil? Be in love with someone who's a little evil. Or just love someone who is a little evil. It's really fun.
Would you recommend it?
I would, actually, because whenever you have bad thoughts or snarky thoughts, you know exactly who to send them to.
Who to go to.
And also, if you want somebody to tell you to kill a guy, you know exactly who to go to.
Back to like him saying things like this is not like a grand thing. My love for you is big and grand and wonderful, but like our love is not like, and it's hard to say because when I say it like that, it sounds bad. But he's not saying our love is not grand, but our love is not unique in the sense that everyone falls in love and it is beautiful and wonderful and equally life-changing every time. But it is something that we will all experience, which is also beautiful, because he opens up and he says, all the fear and the fire of the end of the world happens each time a boy falls in love with a girl. And at the end he says, happily, I'm unfazed here too. So like yes, it is fire, and it's like a volcano erupting, and it's like a meteor hitting the earth when you fall in love. But everyone falls in love. This happens all the time, and I am in love with you. That's the chorus of the song. I'm in love with you. And like what I mentioned earlier is it's special now because it's me and you. And yes, it was special when I was in love with someone else, but like me and you is a different kind of special. It's not taken away from that, and it's not making this greater or worse, but I'm in love with you. And I don't think men should be allowed to say things so directly. I think it's rude and it hurts my feelings, actually.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think he should be allowed to because he's probably one of maybe 3 men alive in the world who can pull it off. But he should not be allowed to
hear
near
it.
me.
It's not nice for me. Not to be like, when is it my turn? But like, it hasn't been my turn yet, and I think that would be nice. That's all I'm saying.
When is it my turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna box you in the head, so maybe don't finish that sentence.
You know, if you ever get the chance to be in love with someone Irish, I recommend it.
I'm gonna redact it myself.
It's fun. They're not all 6'5" like Hozier though, so that might cloud your judgment. Okay, he is gorgeous. He is an anomaly.
You know what? Actually, I think it's really good that they're not all 6'5". I think I need to have something to humble me. Okay, if I dated a man who was Irish and also 6'5", I'd never shut up again.
Oh no, you would.
Everyone would know.
You would get a ring on the second date. You would lock that down expeditiously.
I'd give a ring. I'd be like, "You want to get married?"
You know what? That's true. That's true. Well, no, you give him the ring so that he can give it to you. Like you just
on the first date.
Yeah.
Okay. Next date, propose. Good. Great.
Yeah. Exactly. This was so great. Thanks for paying. Bring this to the next one. That's actually how our second date went.
Yeah.
Is I just proposed right in the middle of...
Where was our second date? Actually, I think our 1st through 10th dates were at Shake Talk. Or the subway, but the one on the way to school.
Yeah.
Where the lady definitely hated us.
Oh, yeah. They all hated us.
Zozab? I think that was our fanciest date.
Oh, yeah.
Zozab. I don't miss you. I think we should finish this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I don't miss you either. Anyway... We love Hozier. We love Ireland. We love music that sounds like somebody was overtaken by a lesbian ghost when they wrote it.
I'm spitballing an idea here real quick, though. I think we should, and we probably spitballed this before, we should make like a modern day Twilight soundtrack.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be the regular.
If we should do all the movies, though. Yeah, no, those... Okay, objectively, all right? Even if you don't like the Twilight movies, the Twilight soundtracks are bangers. There's 2 Paramore songs. There's Monster on one of them. There's Decode on another one. It Will Rain on Breaking Dawn. I Didn't Mean It. Eyes on Fire. It's just like banger... The Christina Perri one, I can't remember the name of right now.
1,000 Years.
Yeah. And unfortunately, banger after banger after banger.
So anyway, catch us later when we might be making new Twilight soundtracks. But thank you very much, and we'll be back next week probably.
Probably, hopefully. I will be back next week. I will be looking for a new co-host.
Yeah, regardless. Probably. That's fair. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.